You are nearly done with the class. We just have 2 lessons left. Let's talk about styles. We're going to minimize our shadow settings panel and leave the scenes open. Next up, we're going to go to Window, Styles, and Windows users. If you can't find this in your default tray, you can find it under Window, Default Tray, and check your styles. This one's a little bit too long for me, so I'm going to use this little triangle here in the corner and shorten this up a bit before I dock it. I don't need it to go all the way down there. All right, if you click on the home icon, you can see your in-model styles. That's the style we are currently using. Remember, we did this at the very beginning of the class. This was the style that we started with, and we created a new style. But where did that go? Well, we purged our model after the 3D warehouse lesson, and so it got rid of that. It purges everything we're not currently using, including styles. So we're going to create another one. Click on the middle icon here. It created a duplicate of that, style 1. Let's override that name, and we're going to call it Interior View. Enter. And then the update icon. So these two look exactly the same because it's just a duplicate. We haven't changed anything about it except for changing the name, and then we clicked on this little wheel here to lock in that change. All right, let's go to Edit and click on the first icon here. Make sure your profiles are on in this one, because if we turn them off, we do get a fast style here, but we lose some information. So if you're ever modeling and you go to present and it looks like this kind of flat, make sure your profiles are turned on in that style that you're using so that you can see a bit more. Having your profiles on really helps for a presentation scene. And you want to make sure, in general, that they're a low number. Even at a 2, it starts to look a little heavy. Like, look at all these plants. They just look blobby. And if you start to go too high, it's just too much. So I really like my profiles at a 1. And that just kind of keeps it nice and clean and not too much busyness, really. Okay, so let's look at the second icon here, which is your faces. And you may need to minimize your scenes panel for a moment so that you can see all of this panel. So these different faces here, we've got a wireframe, this nice black and white line style here. We've got a shaded only, so this is just the color of the textures. There's no actual texture or images to it. And then this is what we saw before. Last one's going to be monochrome. That's helpful sometimes, but this is, in general, the presentation icon that we need with our textures on. Now, this one is brand new for 2024, SketchUp 2024, ambient occlusion. Go ahead and check on that, and you can see that we get some nice shading in all of the corners and anywhere there are 2 objects close together. So that just adds a little bit of realism and emotion to our model. So this is great. You can change the distance of the spread there. So if you like it to be a little bit more dramatic, you can bump that up. And then same thing with the intensity, the darkness of it. If you want it to be really like intense, you can bump that up. I like mine to be a little bit lower, but the spread to be a little wide. So you could, if your spread was short, but your intensity was deep, it really just kind of makes it like a heavy outline. So you got to find some middle ground here, move the distance up, and I'm happy with that for now. So I don't want to just click on interior perspective. I need to lock in this style here. So I'm going to click lock that in. And I would like to link this interior view with the interior perspective scene. So remember when we were on our scenes panel and we looked at the list of items here that the scenes lock in, we have got style. So it locks in the style. We want to right click update to lock in those changes. So right click update. All right. So if you're getting a little warning where it's asking you if you want to update the scene or you have all these radio button options, click cancel and go back and look at your styles panel and make sure that there's no updates that were unchanged. You really want to make sure that you, here, I'll go ahead and make an example of that. Like, let's say we do this and then you go right click update. It's saying, hey, did you want to lock that change in? Are you trying to create a new style? Do you want to, what are you doing here? So it's just saying, that you've made changes, but you haven't created a new style or updated any existing ones. So I usually hit cancel and I just take a look at what I'm trying to do. Like, oh yeah, I don't want to turn that on. Make sure that wheel is not there as you go to update your scene. So update, and then it's like, all right, perfect. We will link this scene with this style. Now that you have updated and locked these two together, we can go to edit and make more changes. So like we can, turn on the sky, change the horizon color. Like maybe we'll make it like an orange. It's a little bit too orange. So maybe we'll tone it down a bit, something sort of like that. And I'm happy with that. And then I'm going to lock that change in. So because this scene is linked to this style, I don't have to go back in here and go right-click update every single time I want to make a change to this style. It is already linked to this style. Once you've updated it to this interior view style that we created, any change you make to it will automatically change here. So that's something that's really cool. So for example, this one was using our original style and our interior perspective is linked to this style. So now I can make a ton of changes, turn the ground on, change the ground color. Maybe we make it, let's put it next to the ocean. Just kidding, sort of. All right, we'll do that. And then we click update. So this style is locked into this scene. So any changes will happen to that scene as well. All right, let's not be so dramatic with that. I'm going to go ahead and hit update. And those are the main changes. So we've got the edges, the faces, the environment or the background. And then this panel is important, but we get into that in future classes. But these are the main ones that you can start with, these first three. The fourth one is a watermark. So you can use that one as needed, but I don't use that one as much. All right, so those are our styles. The most fun thing about this is the new ambient occlusion that allows us to give our file some emotion and just a really cool look. So now we have our interior perspective to present to the client and our working scene so that we can quickly head back over here, turn the ceiling off, and work on this easily. And that is the conclusion of our course. In the very next lesson, I'm going to say goodbye and talk about the next steps.